Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. The Fenway Bowl provides us with a very unique situation for both teams. SMU will be playing in this game without their head coach in Sonny Dykes, who left to become the head coach at TCU. Virginia will be playing in their final game with head coach Bronco Mendenhall, who surprised everybody a few weeks ago by announcing that he would resign at the end of the season. So a very unique coaching situation here, guys. SMU dealing with an interim. Virginia knowing this is the last game for Bronco Mendenhall, having already hired his replacement in Tony Elliott, the offensive coordinator at Clemson. It's an odd situation that we don't see very often in a bowl game, especially between two teams, both teams. But regardless, guys, this is going to be a very, very fun game. And if you like offense, this is the game for you. So again, guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, here to predict the Fenway Bowl between SMU and Virginia. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, guys, especially those expert picks over on the gridironexpert.com. Remember, guys, you will receive every single college football bowl game spread pick over on the gridironexpert.com, and you will receive every NFL playoff spread pick as well. So if you want spread picks, the gridironexpert.com is the place for you. Not only is it the cheapest site in the country, one of the cheapest sites in the country, and it's one of the most accurate sites in the country as well. We beat out over 80% of the national analysts each of the last 3 years. If you go there, you're going to win. You're going to get accurate picks. You're going to get accurate analysis. The gridironexpert.com is the place to go for all those spread picks, guys. It's a year-long subscription, so if you sign up now, you've got all the way through 2022. Take advantage of it and join our team today. Again, the link down in the description below. So let's go ahead and take a look at this very, very intriguing bowl game, guys. You know, when this stuff happens with coaches, you always have to question, obviously, motivation. You see transfers, you see opt-outs, but then you question motivation. How motivated will SMU be? How motivated will Virginia be, knowing it's the last game with their head coach, knowing they've already got a replacement, knowing they ended the year on a bit of a sour note with a loss to Virginia Tech? Well, let's take a look at the offenses first, because we said this is a game that will be dominated by offense. SMU, let's start with them. Transfer quarterback Tanner Mordecai, who came over from Oklahoma, has been phenomenal. Tanner Mordecai has been great. Over 3,600 yards and 39 touchdowns on the year. He's leading an offense that's averaging 38.4 points per game and 304.5 passing yards per game. It's been unbelievable. And what else would you expect? A couple years ago, we saw Shane Buechele and Sonny Dykes' offense, and he was putting up very, very similar numbers. So this is the perfect offensive system for Mordecai, and it will be too with Rhett Lashley, the new head coach at SMU. Get some bad news for SMU, though. While Tanner Mordecai has been putting up great passing numbers, his leading wide receiver, Danny Gray, and other star wide receiver, and Reggie Roberson, both have opted out. Neither will be playing in this Fenway Bowl. Those two players, guys, combined for 100 receptions, over 1,400 yards, and 15 touchdowns. So arguably the top two receivers for SMU will not be playing in this game, leaving Mordecai having to find some answers. He's going to have to find some other receivers and some other options if he wants to keep putting up the numbers like he's been all year long. The good news for SMU is the fact they do average over 160 rushing yards per game. So there's a little bit of balance there. Trey Siggers and Ulysses Bentley IV both have over 600 rushing yards this year. This is a fast offense, this is an explosive offense, an up-tempo offense that will be able to exploit this Virginia defense. SMU wants to pass, they want to pass first. That might be taken away a little bit with the loss of their top two wide receivers. But the rushing game can make up for that. The rushing game certainly can make up for that. When you look at Virginia, their offense, guys, is right on up there with SMU. That's why we're saying if you like offense, you've got to watch this game. The Cavaliers are averaging 34.6 points per game behind their quarterback, Brennan Armstrong, who leads the nation among all players in total offense. Out of all the players in the country, he averages the most total offense per game. Armstrong alone averages 427.3 yards per game. On the year, he has thrown for over 4,400 yards, 31 touchdowns, has also rushed for 9 touchdowns, so 40 total touchdowns for Brennan Armstrong. He leads an offense that averages over 515 yards per game, where obviously, of course, the majority of the damage is done through the air. Unlike SMU, he's really not dealing with many opt-outs. His top wide receiver, and Dontavian Wicks is going to be playing, has over 1,200 yards. And Keaton Thompson, the football player. Doesn't really have a title to his name. It's just Keaton Thompson, athlete, football player. He has over 900 reception yards as well. He'll crack 1,000 in this game. Those are your top two contributors for Brennan Armstrong, a guy who has an unbelievable arm and is already committed to stay with the new head coach in Tony Elliott. When you take a look at the defense, there's not going to be much. You might want to consider taking the over in this game because there's not going to be much defense because SMU and Virginia are horrendous on that side of the ball. The Mustangs are giving up 28.4 points per game and 278.1 passing yards per game. So Virginia, they've got the number 2 passing offense in the country. The number 2 passing offense in the country. SMU has the 124th ranked passing defense in the country. Remember, there are only 130 teams. 124th out of 130. That's not good. Right there, those numbers alone make me think that Brennan Armstrong is going to be in for a big, big day against this SMU secondary. The Mustangs guys have allowed at least 28 points in each of their last 5 games. The Mustangs only went 1-4 in those games. They've also allowed at least 24 points in 9 of the 12 games they've played. The Mustangs defense isn't good. They try to make up for their lack of defense with a lot of offense. But when you face quality opponents, that's not always how it works. That doesn't always work out well. So that's going to be the key here, guys. If you're SMU, you've got to find a way to slow down Brennan Armstrong. Virginia can run. They can run, but they don't want to. And they're not nearly as good on the ground as they are through the air. Got to find a way to contain Brennan Armstrong. Got to find a way to slow down that passing attack and try to force Virginia into a couple 3-and-outs, a couple turnovers, or at least to the point where they result to the ground game. When you look at Virginia, their defense is not much better. Statistically, they're actually a little bit worse. The Cavaliers are allowing 31.8 points per game and 466 yards per game. And you look at the numbers here. They're allowing 240 passing yards per game. That ranks 86. So significantly better than SMU. 86 passing defense in the country versus the 124th ranked passing defense in the country. I'm not saying 86 is great, but when you compare the two, Virginia has the edge there. For me, the bigger concern for Virginia is the rushing defense. Virginia is giving up 225.8 rushing yards per game. 225.8 rushing yards per game, which means those backs for SMU, Trey Siggers, Ulysses Bentley IV, those guys could be in for big, big days, especially if Tanner Mordecai decides, hey, we're going to run the ball a little bit more. If SMU says, we're going to run the ball more because we're going to be without 2 of our best wide receivers. I'm not saying they're going to completely ditch the pass, but I wouldn't be surprised to see SMU try to establish the run early, knowing that Virginia's rushing defense is bad, knowing it can be exploited, and knowing that if you establish the run, you can absolutely set up the pass. The Cavaliers, guys, listen to these numbers. 320 rushing yards allowed to Virginia Tech. 169 allowed to Pittsburgh. 249 to Notre Dame. 385 to BYU. 270 to Georgia Tech. Those were just in their last, 5 games? All of those coming in the last 5 games. They lost every single one of those games except for the Georgia Tech game. They nearly blew that one, only winning that one by 8. So that's a problem. That's a problem. Virginia's got to find a way to slow down the run and force SMU to throw, which is what they want to do. They want to throw. If SMU can come in here and just continue to run and give Mordecai a day where maybe he only attempts 20 passes or something, they would love that. They would love that. So Virginia's got to find a way to take away one aspect of the SMU offense. And for me, that's going to be the ground game because they can't afford to keep getting exploited on the ground. They just can't. So what's going to happen, guys, in the Fenway Bowl? Again, a fantastic site for this bowl game, an intriguing situation considering the loss of Sonny Dykes for SMU and Virginia knowing this will be the last game with Bronco Mendenhall. Again, a decision that surprised a lot of people just a few weeks ago. Well, like we said, it's a game that's going to be dominated by offense and a game where whoever gets one turnover, whoever gets one stop and the offense goes down there and scores might win the game. It could come down to who has the ball last. It could come down to whoever gets up by double digits first, 2 possessions, because the other team might not be able to respond and get defensive stops to come back. That might be what this game comes down to. But at the end of the day, guys, I personally have to go with Virginia. I've got to go with the Cavaliers. As bad as their defense is, as bad as their rushing defense is, I got to believe they're going to be able to contain the run, play their best game of the year, hopefully, so far against the run because of a motivation factor as well. There is something to be said for being motivated and trying to send Bronco Mendenhall out on a high. Virginia, they have a few opt-outs, but none as big as SMU. None as big as Gray, none as big as Roberson. SMU doesn't have Sonny Dykes on their sideline. To me, Virginia is in a better spot as a whole. I actually like their quarterback situation and their passing attack better than SMU's right now. So with the motivation factor, with the arm of Armstrong, I think Virginia does just enough in a high-scoring shootout, close high-scoring shootout, to send Bronco Mendenhall out on a high, sending him out with a bold victory with the Cavaliers and ending his career with the Cavaliers with a winning season. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. We are picking Virginia over SMU in the Fenway Bowl. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. And again, if you want the spread pick for this Fenway Bowl, if you want the spread pick for every other bowl game, if you want the spread pick for every NFL playoff game, go over to thegridironexpert.com right now. The link is down in the description below and sign up for those expert picks. I promise you it's a decision, again, a year-long decision for one fee that you will not regret. You will not regret it because you will come out a winner. So make sure to take advantage of that, guys. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.